Hi there, my name's Kathy A., and this is my tour of Brimfield, Massachusetts Antiques and Collectibles Fair in September of 2021. My name's Kathy A., and I normally do a makeup show, but today it's a little different. Held rain or shine since 1959, the Brimfield Antiques and Collectibles event is one of the largest antique shows in the country. 1 week of May, July, and September each year. It encompasses a jam-packed half-mile segment of the main road in this little Massachusetts town. 35,000 people or more tour the 500-plus vendor booths and displays spanning about 8 football fields each day. Some events, like auctions and private curated vendor tents, will cost an admission fee, but most of this fair is free to the public. Traffic is very heavy, so it really makes sense to follow your GPS suggestion for alternate routes to Route 20. Parking is a little bit tricky, and you can pay between $5 and $20 to park. I always turn off onto Warren and then get into the place down on the left because it's $15, but they give you a ticket that you can use and return to the fair later on if you decide to leave. And we usually leave for lunch midway through. So here we are parked in the field, and we're headed into the fair. We're starting off on the upper part of the fair near where the church is, and we're going to stay on the same side of the road between the Shelton and Sturtevant Center. Now, all of these tents are vendors from around the world, around the country, wheeling and dealing, and you can find a little bit of everything, and it's very casually laid out. You'll see all kinds of unusual things side by side. Some vendors are very organized and they have same type of items together, and others just have a mishmash of stuff. It's always exciting, always fun to look at what's new, or actually what's old. Now, the collectibles part of this means that a lot of these objects are new or newer made, but they are very unusual or handmade. So side by side, you see you've got Lady Diana, you've got an accordion, you've got some old boxes and crates, lots of old toys, toolboxes, fishing tackle boxes. So I'm just taking you on a tour, going through just like I did, and this is really just a small segment of what the fair holds. It literally takes about 8 hours to get through the whole fair, and that's without stopping. The toys are always charming to look at, and a lot of people share memories when they see them. There's a lot of artwork and prints and sculptures. Some of them are sold as prints, and there are some framed prints as well, and some original paintings that we'll see later on. Records and ads, signed baseballs and magazines. This was cut from the back of a Sugar Pops children's cereal box. Now we're just kind of exploring through. I'm trying not to get you too dizzy with my bad camera work here. So I am slowing down a little bit so you can see some of the variety of things you can see at the Brimfield Antiques Fair. Now this is Saturday, September 11th, and there's a lot of flags and people making tributes to 9/11, which was the 20th anniversary today of this. There weren't as many people or as many vendors at this particular show in September of 2021, and I noticed that a lot of the opposite side of the road, which is normally full of vendors, was not even a quarter of the way full. So it is a very different fair this year than it has been in previous years, most likely because of the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, which has prevented a lot of people from getting out, and a lot of stores have gone out of business. This was a popular item throughout. I noticed we had the same theme of cathedral ironwork panels. These all ranged around $25 to $35 each, depending on their size. It was a beautiful day. We absolutely had a lovely time. Now this is the line for one of the portalettes. The porta potties are pretty disgusting at this place, so I tend to leave at lunchtime and we go to a restaurant, have dinner, and then we use a real restroom before we come back to do the second half of the show, and I think it's a great plan to have. There's an old ice box there, $700. And you see some beautiful large furniture, and then right here we've got some Barbies. And there are some home decor items, lots of textiles. There are some crafts involved here, like these velvet pumpkins, but I think they fit the bill pretty well. There's also a sachet with incense in it, and we have some beautiful old trays, some dishes, and kitchenware. Lots of linens, cross-stitch embroidery, lots of old-time, old-school stuff, old tablecloths. And again, I apologize for my kind of shaky camera work. I was actually using my phone for this recording, and I just wanted you to get a feel for what it's like and the types of things you get to look at when you come to the Brimfield Fair. Now, these are always a popular place in the fair. This is all the Matchbox cars. And I know that in the 60s, I had several myself. And you can, they're quite collectible. And there are some old, some new. And there are some larger ones as well. It's always fun to have a look through in memory lane, and you may even spot a car that you used to own or your parents used to own. And there's some CDs and DVDs. Now, a lot of the folks had a decor for sale, so they actually really took great care in their displays, while others would just throw things in a bin and hope you just look through it. Here's the DVDs, and here's some Christmas collectibles. A lot of us have those Christmas villages. Of course, it is getting near autumn time, so we're seeing lots of Halloween types of items. We have some old clocks. And a lot of the tables are like this, where you'll see a variety of items packed together that have nothing to do with each other. There's a tape recorder for a voice. There's an old camera, and then we've got our Ninja Turtle. And then we've got, like, it looks like a 2-track musical board, plus a lot of our electronic and camera equipment. An Egyptian box. There's a leopard print robe. And then look at these shoe horns, well, shoe stretchers, shoe sizers. And some ice skates, some dolls. It's a bit of everything here. It's a Western area. They've got a nice saddle. There were a lot of saddle and reins and those things that go in the horse's mouth. Mouthpieces. I'm not sure what they call them. I'm so bad at that sort of thing. Now, these are vintage photos of real people in old frames. I'm sure there's some spirit attachments here. There's some, you know, these folks are all, I think, passed away by now. And tea set, a little bit of this and that. And some beautiful portraits. Even if you're not interested in purchasing these things, it's just so interesting to look at them. Now, this place looked like it wasn't going to have very much of interest. There were a lot of wooden objects in the front and a barrel of yardsticks, which my friend actually bought a yardstick from them. Look at all these wooden frames. I mean, you can just do some wonderful things around the house with the frames. And as I looked around, I found a whole bunch of other things in this particular booth. I was really quite pleased. These are an unusual painting there. And here's my friend going nuts over the stuff. There's some Hummels hidden back there and some old bowls. These are scarves that are packaged scarves, and they're new, but they're quite beautiful. And I'm just going to close up onto that jacket with one of the scarves. And yes, it's new, but I think it's kind of nice and unique. And there were different patterns there as well. It's also a nice old-fashioned record player there. Some kitchenware, pottery, basket, Christmas decorations. We had, looks like Pennsylvania Dutch stitchery. Some more pottery and glassware. Boxes, they had a lot of decorator boxes. And some baskets, and some of the larger items out front were kind of interesting. There were some panels. Beautiful side chests, and there's some musical instruments, a trombone and a violin. With their cases. And here's some cookware, bakeware. This looks like some kind of tart. Cupcake tin, tart tin, compote. I'm not sure what that thing is. And I was checking prices, so the camera wavers back and forth sometimes because I'm actually picking things up to look at them, and I apologize again for that. All right. Oh, underneath the counter, look at all these old cameras. Box cameras. This is that same place that had the yardsticks out front. It didn't look like it had very much. So this is part of the joy of going to this fair. And look at the chandeliers, two different ones. And there's that record player. It's absolutely beautiful. And then I also found this hidden away. This is a handbag made out of an old tin. And it has a clasp on it so you can close it, and it has a handle on it so you can carry it. I thought that was neat. It looked like a license plate. They also had a little mini bowling alley there with the bowl retriever gutter thing, and they had the pins, and then they had the little things that they put over the bowling pins, and they had some nice wood chairs, and that beautiful decorator boxes. And ladders, that was popular. Toboggans and sleds. And there's an old-fashioned telephone across the way here. That's the old school kind from the 1920s and 30s. It's an old heater and an old scale, a Toledo scale, to weigh all your meats and nuts and candies on. And this beautiful tent was full of lamps and tables, and I thought the lamps were just gorgeous. There's another Victrola. Beautiful tables. I mean, you really have to hunt because you can't just look on the surface of something. You really have to go into a tent or a booth and have a look around up and down. Look at that dragon candle holder. And this beautiful car. I had one very similar when I was a little girl. Some more lamps and old paintings and pictures. flash lamps, pottery. It's a pretty pot. Now again, this really almost doesn't do justice to the whole fair, and it's over an hour and a half long, and I just couldn't edit any more out than I had. It's absolutely fun. Look at this little baby carriage. I used to walk my dolls in something like that. There's a meat grinder. It's fun guessing what some of these things are because, you know, they have been out of commission for so long. There's a water pump. And I'm sure you know what some of these things are. I'm explaining what they are as we go by them. There's one of only 2 sets of sterling silverware I saw the whole time. It's funny how each year there seems to be certain items that are popular and other years they are not. These are beautiful carnival glass, and then all the containers. They had barley as one of the listed containers with flour and sugar. I guess that was a popular thing to cook with. There's an old high chair. Some lawn decorations. And some old pottery. That's nice. There's a bell, which I'm going to ring and annoy the owner. I'm just ringing it now. Ding, ding. That's your come to supper bell. Which when we were kids, our parents just called us or rang a bell and we came home. After playing out all day, they didn't have play dates back then. We just went out with the neighborhood kids. So this is just to give you a general feeling of what it's like. You're just walking through and seeing all these incredible items just sitting on the grass. Some old maps and paintings. Aztec or Mayan paintings, a beautiful mirror. You'll see my hand every now and again pointing at things. I'm a pointer. I get quite excited at seeing things like a little kid. And you can see there's quite a variety. There's some vintage handbags here. Really nice. They were fairly reasonably priced too. I found that the prices this year were very reasonable, and I think maybe it had a lot to do with the fact that, you know, people haven't been shopping very much. There's some jewelry, some more lamps, and check this out, an original Peter Max signed drawing. That's really neat. You remember him from like the 1960s? He did the Beatles stuff for Yellow Submarine. And then of course there's a lot of beautiful Japanese lamps and jewelry. Found lots of costume jewelry. Not so much as well organized as this. In some cases there were just bins of it. Unbelievable. Now this is a sea of carpets, and these are handmade carpets, oriental rugs. Absolutely beautiful. And then just another one of the booths next door. And again, you have to look up and down, and I'm like, that looks like a shoe shine box, and sure enough it is. It's got my curiosity, and I know you want me to do it. I'm gonna open it up. Here it is, and what's inside? All of the shoe polishes and brushes. It's pretty cool. And then there was inside, I just went inside a little bit. There's lots of lighters and ashtrays. Those used to be a popular Christmas gift. Now at another booth, we're looking at pillars. Since it was a beautiful day, it was really a lot of fun to look at it. And now this says hay fatso, and it's actually a scale, a doctor's scale. They had a lot of biker stuff at this particular booth as well. Now, a lot of this stuff is in various conditions, so you can, of course, really grab a deal. They do accept credit cards here, but I always do the best wheeling and dealing with cash money. I think nothing gets you a bargain faster than cash money in their face, especially near the end of the day. And Saturday is the second to last day. A lot of the people having booths are not going to be there on Sunday. They use Sunday as their travel day to get back home. It's a nice bed frame here up against the tractor. Look at the detailing in that ironwork. Really beautiful. And you see a lot of doodads. I saw a lot of construction materials and reclaimed stuff from house renovations, reclaimed wood, and lots of the iron fixings and things they took out of homes that they demolished. That's a very long sled. Now here's some canes. There were some beautiful canes and walking sticks all over the place. Some of the tents were a little bit darker inside because they were shaded. And I had to battle the crowds. Look at all these pipes. Everybody's dad or granddad smoked a pipe. And it was tobacco pipe. Not like the kind we use today. This is an interesting alligator purse. And look at the dead child behind it, the dead doll behind it. I don't know what was creepier, this purse or that dead doll in the crypt, it looks like. There's a coffee grinder there on the left. Some owner, that's probably the original owners of these things. Loving that carnival glass and unusual smalls, as they call them. I wasn't sure what this was. Does anybody know what this is? Is it a fountain? And there's lots of old prints, both framed and unframed. A lot of the chests of drawers and things are so beautifully restored. Absolutely beautiful. And then, of course, the collector tins. And boxes, old boxes. Another little high chair. I'm not sure I'd put a child in a high chair like that nowadays. Here's an old custom motor for motorheads, really, how to do your muscle car. Drag strip cars and motor cars. There's a whole series of them. They were all wrapped up. And I'm sure that would be of interest to some people who are really into old cars from the 60s and 70s especially. A candelabra and some interesting boxes. We have some yard cement bird baths. And there's some people just kind of threw things out into bins and people are just kind of ruffling through them. Some beautiful little statues and smalls and glassware. It's quite a combination here. It's really overwhelming when you look at everything that's here. There's the bells. People were really into collecting things, I think, especially in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. They collected things like bells and salt and pepper shakers. And now the kids are inheriting and they're selling everything. Now here was a musical area. They had an amp there and that was $10, so I suspected it might not be working. And there's a beautiful guitar in the back there. Some guitar cases. There's a sewing kit down there. Some jewelry and watches. Costume jewelry. And then here's some more electronic equipment and decks of cards. Of course, I'd have to count them to make sure all 52 are there. There's a little toy car with a skeleton driving. This is It's a barn sale and they're showing horse harnesses. That was the word I was looking for. Beautiful lamps. There's a projector in the background there and a microphone. There's a water element, kind of an unusual one. And here's some garden implements and a big saw. And wrought iron. Oh my goodness, the iron skillets and iron cookware. That was huge too. I saw that everywhere in the fair. They had every shape, size, and function pan that you would ever want in here. Absolutely beautiful and very reasonably priced. And they had really nice display too, I thought. There was a guy that walked next to me. He goes, "Oh, look, there's just pots and pans in there." He kept going, but you know what he missed? He missed all these really cool tools and things that are on the right. Now here's some pots and kettles. There's corn stick molds. But on this side, look at all these axes and tool things that mostly the men like to look at these kinds of things. Antique tools are quite valuable. And here's some more of the back side of those displays with the iron. And I saw a few typewriters, old school typewriters. You can still get the ink tape for those. Again, you know, the flags for 9/11 were in every format. You could see it. There were some people who had firemen tributes out. Now here is an Indian or indigenous woman's outfit. I wanted to say squaw outfit, but I don't think that's politically correct anymore. There's a bicycle. And we have some beautiful glassware here. Those are mostly candy dishes or cake plates. And we have some more. And those are those Mexican crushed stone artwork paintings. I don't know if you'd call them paintings, but they have colored crushed rocks and they glue them onto the background. And I had one of those at one point, I think, and I actually got it in Mexico. Kind of a charming little thing. I just love this glassware. It's so fancy. And there's some beautiful walking sticks. An old bunny. Some old prints. Beautiful little pitcher there. And some more of those canisters for coffee and sugar and flour and tea. And then there's some spice containers and some Pyrex. Pyrex used to be pretty big. I think they worried about the lead in some of the things. I'm not sure what these are. They look like faucets almost, so I'm not sure what they are. And I'm not sure what that white can thing is. It looks like some kind of cookery. Oh, this is old-fashioned 1950s Christmas decorations, and these are beautiful glass-blown ornaments, and I'm sure we've all seen these on our grandparents' trees. We had a lot of them. A lot of them did get broken in various moves and bad storage, right next to the Chinese knife and the plates. Okay. And some lamps. Hershey's Chocolate World ashtray. There you go. And there's a Gilby's World Map lamp and some beautiful trinket boxes. Clocks. Boy, this looks like Grandma's vanity, huh? Here's the knife guy, and he has hundreds of different knives, some of them very unique. It was unusually popular for some reason. And there were some other strange items. I wasn't quite sure what they were. Is that a welding thing? I'm not sure. Snowshoes. Looks like a barber chair. The diet center. There's something to put in the kitchen. It's time to buy. Yeah. And there's a wooden gun, and those were used by military groups to train marching with your weapon. And here's a Japanese flag and a signed Yukon jersey. There's a lot of military paraphernalia here. Crapaholics Anonymous, okay. Insignia, naval stuff. And we have a whole bunch of hats here from military and from social, civil organizations. Looks like the Sphinx. And we have the indigenous tribe headpiece. Lots of belt buckles. Is that a sexton from a boat? Taxi cab. Interesting. I'm not sure what that hose is for. Some old bottles, beer bottles, and a few books. And some biographies. There's a propeller. There's a fly net hat or a beekeeper's hat. And there's some body parts, a brain, a knee, bone cartilage. Oh, there's some interesting decorative items. And there's the inside of your liver or kidneys or something. Must have been a doctor's. And these are fake hamburger and coffee. Not looking all that appetizing at this time. On a tray, remember those trays from lunch at school in the 1960s? And a cafeteria sign. There's a hand. And some award plaques. And that's pictures of a lighthouse during a hurricane. We just have been having some bad weather here, so people are fascinated with that. And here's some old collectible things. Oh, this is a candelabra made out of a deer antler. And then these are stubs from movies. This vomit bag and the price of admission will enable you to see Mark of the Devil. Yeah. And then there's Flag Day memorabilia. And there's even Huey's menu. I think Huey's was down in New London, Connecticut. It was a nice bar. My father used to frequent that one. Vote for Wilkie. Yeah, this was one of those bins I was talking about. That's got all costume jewelry in it. And I think they sell it by the pound or something like that. But this was another thing that was popular. Marbles, the little cat eye marbles that we used to play with as kids, they are now quite a thing. I see them probably 9 or 10 different booths had marbles in different formats or different vessels. Now here's all the old bottles. And you know, back in the old days, people used to bury their trash in their yard. And when they did renovations to the property or digging or anything, they would find a lot of these bottles, especially the drugstore bottles for medicines. They survived underneath the ground. So a lot of those glass bottles are actually from excavations and things. Look at that long sled. I wonder what that's used for. Some wheels and barrels. I'm not sure what that machine is. Just a little bit of everything. And here's some doodads from the iron things from the house. Some baskets. I think I stopped to look at a price on something. Even highly edited. This is, I'm so sorry, goodness. There's some saws. And there's the little spindles you can put on the top of fences or something. They're awfully sharp to have in the house. There's an old fan, skeleton keys, doorknobs, and those are knob pulls for cupboards. Some various tools and prints. There's a microscope, some old lamps. There's a fireman's coat. And some textiles. Some old jugs, plates. Some nice tables too. It's a silver service set for coffee. $2 each for these plates. Some goblets and glasses. And there's some old milk bottles. And then I think I'm picking up a pack of wooden nickels, which I'm not quite sure what they're for, but maybe they're tokens for a bridge. I forget. If you know what some of these things are and I'm clueless, please let us know in the comments below, as I'd love to hear what the truth is. Homemade biscuits. There we go. Here's some more furniture. It's usually been refinished furniture, refurbished if it's fabric, and absolutely beautiful. It's a really nice table. Look at the bottom plate of that with the same pattern in it. Really unique. And in the cupboard here, I thought this was kind of cute. There was a little canister for drips. Drips. I kind of almost know what that is, because my mom used to save the bacon fat grease in a container and put it in the refrigerator. I'm wondering if that's what that was for. And look at this beautiful side table. It's just so rustic and, country cottage chic. Here's another beautiful table that would go nicely with it. And beautiful chest. Rushing through a little bit here. There's an old piece of wood on a stand. Some textiles, some prints. Really pretty. Those are nice benches for the entrance. And I love those tables. They were $60 each. The little lily pod tables. And a beautiful round table. Or an end table, that'd be nice. This was cute. They had spider garland, so you can hang it all over for Halloween, because that's coming up next month. And the rest of it's pretty kind of fancy stuff. There's a little whimsical touch there. It's just a lot of separate pieces that would look really nice, depending on your decor, of course. Now, this was my favorite section in the whole fair, and they usually come every year. I did buy a rooster from them one year. These are recycled signs, and what they do is they work them into pieces of art that represent animals and plant work. It's so cute. That's me pointing again. There's a bee right there. Amazing. These are old signs that they've just fashioned into animals. You could see some of them have the wording from the signs, whatever it was they were originally advertising. It's so clever. So clever. Now, these prices range from $20 up to $150. Those little elephants are adorable. They're on, a lot of them are on sticks, so you can stick them in your garden. I think those are actually loose, so you can just have them down in the room. There's a turtle. They just have such personality, and I love looking through all of them, and I'm spending an innately long time here. The rooster in the middle is the one like I have. And all the little piggies, the little piglets, little baby goats. And then here's some bulldogs, really funny. They have their teeth and their big tongues. They have different sizes of each, and these run probably around $85 to $95. She doesn't really barter either, I'll have to say. I use my best efforts. And there's a T-Rex. There's two sizes of those. There's a deer. I'm not sure what he's doing there. There's a small T-Rexes or raptors next to him. I think they're T-Rexes too. And we got an American eagle perched. We also have one in flight that's a little further down. These little piglets are so cute. Really funny. Little whimsical part. They last really well outside too. There's some peacocks. Some more roosters like the one I have. I think I spent about $25 or $35 for mine, but it was probably about 10 or 15 years ago, so the prices have gone up a little bit from when I purchased. Nice moose. And some lobsters, and there's a beautiful raven. Wow. I love his feet. Yep, and here's a happy little, just plain old metal things. Happy little metal dog, looks like a little yippy dog. A heron. There's a big cactus with flowers on it. Oh, we've got some more bees here with flowers around them. There's a whole little pack of bulldogs. And each one of them has its own little personality. Really funny. And we're just walking through here. I'm so sorry. I'm probably boring you to death with this part. Look at these little birds. They are actually on sticks and they're $25 each. Really cute. I almost bought one of them. And there's the goats. Just so funny. Not sure which color I would take. So here's the herons with the fish in them. And funny little lobsters. Just really cute to have in the garden or even as a decoration, I guess. And my friend is pointing out one. I think he's going to get it. He looks very happy. He's caught a big fish. Here's some gnomes and some little gnomes and some soccer ball shaped animals and planters too. There's some Despicable Me's back there. And horses. Little skull there. Some more heron, happy heron with their fish. There's a bigger one. And there's some cactus coming up that have cactus blooms on them. It's kind of an interesting thing to add to your garden. And there's some beautiful blue jays. And there's some tall roosters. Really quite magnificent, that one. And there's a beautiful eagle in flight. And a woodpecker. Red-headed woodpecker. There's me pointing again. Be cute on a tree out in the yard. There's a monkey with a banana. Okay, enough of that. Let's get back over to the serious stuff here. Yep, some more very well conditioned, restored things. A picnic basket with full real plates and dishes with it. some clothespins like my mom used to use. She used to hang the clothes out on the line. It always smelled so fresh, except when Pfizer's used to release the gases. Once or twice a week, they'd release the gases in the air, and it would fill everything with orange. These are homemade soaps, farmhouse soaps that they made. These are new products. But again, you know, I think it all fits, it all works. And there's soy candles and there's soaps as well. Some prints. And we've got some cowboy boots down here as well. There is a little bit of controversy sometimes when people bring new items to this fair, but it is a antiques and collectibles show. And now they're calling it an event, you know, a flea market event. So that kind of changes it, tones it down a little bit. Well, tones it down a lot. So the serious antique dealers are generally on this side of the road, and they're all organized by groups. And the ones on the other side of the road are more haphazard, and they have their own spot that they rent for a couple of days. And those are more like yard sales. Now, sometimes they intentionally put a mixture of things together so that you will go digging, because half of the hunt is fun, you know, checking it out yourself and finding these things yourself mixed into other things. So it is strategic in a way. And somebody has a sense of humor. There's a boat oar, farmer's market. Look at the wonderful side hutch. That's huge. Looks almost like a restaurant hutch. And a gun cabinet. Okay, I think that's a car lift, but I'm not sure. Car jack. There's an old camera. $1,750. Kind of neat to see them live. I mean, we see them in the movies all the time, and there's like a nice filing system for tool parts or automotive parts. There's a Briggs & Stratton clock, and then I'm not sure what that machine does. We have a microscope kit, kind of a lantern, and an Edison machine, an old drill. And there's Indian next to brake fluid, next to planters. An old clock, an old box, some skeletons. And then there's a doctor's bag for home visits, back when doctors used to come and visit you at your house and take care of you there, so you didn't have to drive into an emergency room or a walk-in center. I'm not sure what that is. It looks like it held something small, maybe thread. And then there's an old typewriter. I'm not sure what this is, but it's kind of an interesting piece of art. I wonder if they dress it a certain way. It's an old carriage. There's little hints of Halloween here coming up. And some oversized liquor bottles and champagne bottles. It's a pretty, it looks like Polish pottery. Looks like a Polish design. That coffee pot was cool. And there's a butter churn. I really like that butter churn. Can't imagine doing that to get butter, but people still do. It's a nice curio cabinet. In such good condition, my goodness. This clock, this lamp, This lamp fascinated me. It had different light settings, plus it had the dancer on one side and it had the dancing shoes on the other side. Very, very retro. Looks very 1930s in the style and design. And then there's beautiful glassware there. Japanese urns and a beautiful painting. Somebody's a New York fan. They've got 2 guitars here with that design. There's a standing butler with a tray. And a brass holder. Birdhouse. See, everything odd is next to each other. I'm not sure what kind of machine this is. It looks quite daunting. It looks like a water fountain for an outside water fountain. Spokes for a fence line. An old statue. And there's Tom Brady when he was a Patriot. This is held in Massachusetts, and I think everybody's still heartbroken that we lost Tom Brady in Massachusetts. There's some baseball cards. I didn't see very many booths with baseball or football collectible cards. This was one of them that had them. And over here on the right, you can see the Game of Thrones. There's our author, a White Walker, Tyrion Lannister. J.J. Martin. There's a Nagel print. Remember him from the 1980s? I think Duran Duran made him popular. There's Daenerys Targaryen. A Yukon Husky. And here's some barrels of something. What do they make? Are they ice cream makers? What are they? Some more beautiful boxes. That looks like a pew, and then there's some beautiful old framed prints. That looks like a barber chair. A nice little breakfast nook table. It's a gorgeous Chinese bureau drawer. And there's a nice chest. That looks Pennsylvania Dutch almost. And here's another chest, some tables. This looks like a very old-fashioned chest from like the 1950s or even 60s. Hand-painted, looks like. And another typewriter, a couple typewriters. And she's going through a pile of custom jewelry. And there's cameras galore. I saw a lot of cameras and different types from different eras. A lot of box cameras and 35mm cameras from the 1970s and 80s. Really nice. And this beautiful violin. And I just can't get over the camera thing, but I'm pointing at the blue dot flash cubes because you used to stick them on top of your Instamatic camera and they would go off when you took your picture back in the 1960s. I wonder if they still work. Some old postcards and pictures and some more textiles and linens. Beautiful glass and pitcher set. Some statuary stuff. Beware of the Bigfoot and the Grinch. And there's those beautiful bowls. I should have gotten one. I didn't see them until I actually saw this film. I was looking for them, believe it or not. And I missed it because I was filming. And here's the old signs. Well, they're recreated old signs, most of them. There are some originals in here, but most of them are recreated copies. I think the signs were 3 for $20 or 3 for $30, something like that. Nice assortment there. Early Halloween stuff. Some snowshoes. And we have a lot of iron key holders. And those little corner thingies you put on the walls. The name escapes me, of course. And incense. And my friend was deciding whether or not to buy a couple of these signs. Sky Chief Texaco gas. Now further down in this same booth, they had sheepskin, beautiful sheepskin blankets, and then they sold the wood slats, which were kind of interesting. I don't know if they were reclaimed wood or if they were actually taken from old trees. And then they had these bowls. Wooden bowls were very, very popular. And they look very rough, like they hadn't been smoothed out. There's some sage. These bowls, you can see where they were carved and not really smoothed out or sanded. For some reason that was popular. And here's in the far corner from the other side of the signs, they had all the skeleton. And of course they really had a thing with Bigfoot. And then down here we have some alligators and some alligator heads. And then some carved fish. And some beautiful handmade woolen mittens. They were very thick and they looked homemade. And there were some blankets as well. Some plant stands. Chalkboards. Some beautiful hats. Vintage hats. Sailor hats. The old mink hats that they used to wear in the 50s. An old painting that some man probably had in his man cave den. It's a nice big chest of drawers. It looks like a coffee pot lamp. That was interesting. Some snowshoes and prints. Glassware and pottery. And there's a gum machine. You can put your own stuff in it. It's kind of neat. That's an interesting table. And an old painting. Coming up here is a chair that I absolutely love. And when you hear the woman say how much it is, I was like a little shocked, actually. It's right across from this. Yeah. Oh, there's more of them.
Like you're sliding downhill, but you are on a hill up there. It was like this.
How much are these beautiful chairs?
$6.50. That's the wholesale on them. They're beautiful.
Beautiful.
They're beautiful. I know they'll bow tie a little bit. So these recently sold out here, but I bought 6 others, and they're very big. Most of them had no bow tie. Yeah. I was sure that you got a pair just because I
Yep, that couple bought a pair of them for $1,300. Anyway, skeleton keys. Those are popular things. And then lots of buttons for different various political and social pop culture. Lots of little screws and do-digits. And these are cufflinks, pocket knives, shavers. It looks like a bottle opener. Got some old coins, some jewelry, costume jewelry. And then we've got some dishware and some of those cups and saucers. They're only $5 a set. My mother used to collect cups and saucers. Probably is one of them in there. It's a cribbage set, some toys, some miniatures. And this was kind of fun to go through. I was fascinated with this ball, this red ball. I think it has something to do with meditation. Because it made a noise, a bell noise. You know, I would think that would be like for meditation or something, but I don't know. If you know, let me know. Look at all these miniature dogs. Absolutely beautiful. Some of them are very detailed. And again, you know, the dishware and the cups and saucers. We have some rulers, chopsticks, viewfinders, little clocks, knickknacks, old tins. Snuff boxes. And these are beads. A lot of displays of beads were around, and these aren't to wear. They are to use in crafting because they're just on a string, really, just to hold them onto the string. And you take them off the string and then you use them in your crafting. And look at these beautiful baskets. These were part of an African art booth, and there were 2 of those that I saw in the fair. And now for indigenous tribes, these were arrowheads and indigenous tools and pottery, and there was a drum there. Really, really cool. Some baskets and some dolls, some masks. And I just kind of pulled away a little bit so you could see the drum a little bit better, and the pottery and the baskets. There were only, I think, 2 Native Americans.
That isn't chipmunk fruit.
No.
Thank you so much. Are you taking video of my booth?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
And these beautiful bracelets. They were so beautiful, I couldn't decide, and I wound up not getting any of them, and I thought they were absolutely stunning. And the necklaces were as well. Of course, it's for a very special outfit. I think you would wear something like this, but I just thought they were gorgeous, and I think they were something that would look good on a man or a woman. And then there's all these jewelry fixings and findings. And these were belts, like belly dance belts, or I'm not quite sure. And there were some more beautiful bowls. And some jeweled pads. These gorgeous stones and worry stones and stones with amber with bugs in them. I was trying to get a price on the Om symbol. There's beautiful geodes. And there's some textiles and beads. Incense burners, really unique, beautiful designs. And there's some more of those nice textiles. And more of those beads. They sell them by the pound there. And here's some of the geodes and the crystals. Absolutely beautiful. There's some more raw geodes, large ones. Some beautiful tables here. These have all been refinished beautifully. And up on the wall in the back, you can see this is a busy, busy booth with a lot of products. It took me a while to get through here. Just thought they had refinished these pieces of furniture so nicely. They're very unique. So pretty. The olive green with the brown. And then this table down here to the left with the birds painted, hand painted on it. So nice. There's some old-fashioned Christmas decorations and some old prints. I mean, these very well could have come out of all of our grandparents or great-grandparents' homes. I'm sure a lot of this stuff looks familiar to you. And that's part of the fun, I think, of going through the Brimfield Fair, is seeing things like this and remembering when you saw it somewhere else, at a family member's house or at your own house. A little gravy boat. There's salt and pepper shakers and little miniature dogs. Beautiful bowls. Canisters for flour and stuff. And there's a corn stick mold. This is a creepy elephant. I thought this was one of the creepiest things at the fair. Just the way it has the eyes in it. Now, I spotted this little rooster napkin holder and I didn't get it, and I'm kicking myself because I didn't get it. I was going to offer 10 for it. I'm looking at it. I was telling my friend about it, and he's like, oh, you know, you already have a napkin holder. Why do you need that one? So there were just some really interesting little pieces here, but you have to look carefully. And I had to check out the books here to see if I was looking for a rare book, and I'm not finding it anywhere. It's very expensive online, so I thought I'd find it happenstance at one of these places. But there weren't very many booksellers at this antique fair, at least not today. That's a beautiful little picture. I love the plates. Some of the plates are so beautiful and unique. Bone china. Little iron pieces there. Creepy looking clown. Well, there I am in the mirror, looking at wonder at everything. This is just, all this stuff is just thrown out on the grass for us to look at. And I was fascinated with this giant teapot or water kettle. I wasn't sure exactly what it was. Really beautiful thing. I'm showing it to my friend to see if I should get it or not. And I decided not to. Some hand towels, and those are fairly new. Nice little chest of drawers there. Would have been nice for makeup drawers. That's olive wood, and that's a scooper. They had a lot of different things made out of olive wood, and I actually did purchase one. Now this table, and I loved this chair. It was next to the table, but then I noticed how beautiful the table was, and my friend was looking for something like this, so he actually did make an offer for it, and he asked the guy how much it was, pointed at it, and the guy said 60. He said, how about 50? But we had to carry it back to the car through all the crowds and through rows and rows and rows of booths. And it was heavy. Poor thing. He's trying, struggling. So here's the crowds we had to get through with their dogs, and some people were wearing masks and some people were not. And at this point in the pandemic, they're in the Delta variant and it's becoming a serious thing. There's a lemonade stand, which we visited later. He's still walking through, heading down. We're not too far away, going past all the construction with those beautiful big mirrors. We're heading fast. He was stopped by a guy who asked if he could help him carry it. But we were almost to the car, so he just shook his hand and said thanks anyway. You can hire porters, and you can actually rent wagons and things too, but we didn't think we'd get anything big. So we decided that we would do this in 2 parts today. So we took off, and finally here we are headed back. We took a drive to the local Sturbridge Village Cracker Barrel, had my chicken tenders and my tater tot casserole, which I absolutely love, and got to use a real bathroom so we could avoid these horrible portalettes, which are located all around the fair. Try to avoid them if you can, because they're awful. Okay, so back, refreshed. We went back and parked again in the same spot because I had a ticket. And we're heading out for round 2. And we're looking at the booths on the way out. You can see all the doodads and things for construction. And old tins. Old lamps. And here's some more old cameras and some wood trim, some of those corner edgy things, a croquet set, some old magazines, and plates. And here's the Budweiser wagon with the horses. Tiffany lamp shade, some statues and some old clocks, a lot of clocks. Here's some old door locks and doorknobs. And horseshoes. Of course, they were lucky if you had them face up over your door. Sewing machines. There's a cuckoo clock and it has a dancing couple coming out of it, and my friend almost bought it. And I think he kind of wish he had at this point. And all of the fixins were attached behind it. I think it was operational. I think they wanted $95 for it. Here's some beautiful platters and plates. Too pretty to use, I think. Old perfume bottles. Little pitchers. Some old tools. Stuff for the boat. Old tools are really popular. So we decided to go across the street, and that's the other half of the show. It was probably maybe half the size it usually is, but it was more like a yard sale. Now they have food like hot dogs and short ribs and hamburgers and things like that. There is a wine garden where you can get beer and wine, and they had a live band playing. It was really kind of nice, actually, listening to the live band. Anything that was on the street was a little bit in better shape, but the places that were in behind in the backfields pretty much looked like a yard sale. People just dumped yard sale stuff out there. But this was one of the more popular displays, and it's facing the street, so everybody gets to see it from the road, and they naturally go there to check it out. And here are those cathedral-style wrought iron and wood window-shaped things. There's a podium, some beautiful, beautiful textiles and vintage textiles. This place was extremely well done. And I loved the textiles, I really did. Really gorgeous. If you have particular projects in mind, it's got everything you need. And the linens. And there's some chandeliers. We saw a lot of chandeliers. And here's some more ironwork stuff and more of those wooden bowls that are kind of roughly cut. They must have got a bargain from somewhere. I don't know. And here's some wooden bread plates, bread cutting boards, wagon wheels. And those large spools that usually hold cable or wire. People are using them as kind of tables. There's some willow pattern dishes, a Toledo scale. That's the second one we've seen at the fair. That was a light fixture, a very large one. And then there's the second set of silver. That's a complete set. They have the sugar bowls and the creamers. And these beautiful rawhide leather chairs. They were beautifully done. Very rich and actually very comfortable. And there was a bunch of jewelry here. I was looking specifically for turquoise earrings to match a necklace that I just bought. And they had these hand-carved wallets, leather carved wallets. Really beautiful. A lot of different designs and colors too. Very unique. And there were some t-shirts too, some sort of novelty t-shirts. Some were in Spanish and some said Junk Queen. And there were some prints, some really elegant necklaces, costume jewelry. Some beautiful rings and necklaces up top and brooches, pendants. This is steampunk lighting. I thought that was really unique. Old plumbing fixtures turned into modern lighting can really add something to a space. It was extremely unique. And then there were the old-fashioned table linens and cut work. And then here's kind of the yard sale area.
Yeah, they got a lot of stuff here. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's like a Les Paul car.
And here's some old cars. Beautiful. I used to have one similar to that red one when I was a little girl. And I had a tractor like that when I was a little girl too. A lot of chandeliers. And then there's some beautiful, just sitting out in the middle of the grass, these beautiful sofas and desks, writing desks. Canes. There were a lot of canes and walking sticks. Some were very vintage, some were very unique. A lot of mirrors too. I love the tables. guy's got a little bit of blush on. This table is carved from old wood. It's really nice, very unique. There I am pointing again. Some globes. Some people collect globes. And then these are old-time quilts. Old-time patterns. There's something for everybody in this little group. Really beautiful stuff. And right next door there were all these t-shirts and things like that. Here's some whips. And then this windmill here has a man milking a cow when the wind turns the propeller on. I thought that was cute. Right next to the whip. You never know what you're going to see in Brimfield. And we've got some baskets and creepy Halloween masks. There's a zebra toy. There's a nice golf gas sign you can put up in your garage or man cave. And there's old-fashioned telephones that many of us remember. I had a Princess phone that looks similar to that yellow one. And the one with the red light, that would beep when you had a message. Some more tables. And we have Mother Mary sitting next to 4 or 5 1960s bright orange chairs or early 70s. A nice picture there on the ground. And there's a nice little small table there and a fan. Now this gentleman had some of his hand paintings here. They're probably going to be worth quite a lot in 10 or 20 years. Quite a character. Actually, I kind of feel like the guy there on the left. By this point, we're pretty tired and ready to just kind of get back to the car, sit down. So you can see there's almost an atmosphere of yard sale here. There's Fred Flintstone. A little bit of jewelry, costume jewelry. And here's some construction stuff. Salvaged from homes. Beautiful. The wrought iron gate is really nice. Oh, looks like they picked up a vanity. And there's a viola. And a globe. Some crutches. Is that a boat engine? I'm not sure. It looks like a boat engine. And here's a Tiger guitar from the 1960s. Oh boy, that's pretty groovy. Some nice signs. There's one for Hyde Park from London. Couple of interesting wheels. Well, we're pretty much winding down, and as far as what we wound up with, of course you saw the table earlier that my friend picked up. I wound up just posing with my friend, and I bought one of those olive wood coffee stirrers. And my friend bought the heron with the fish, and we each had a refreshing glass of lemonade. So ends another year at the Brimfield Fair. Thank you all for getting this far into it. Everybody have a wonderful week. Have a beautiful day.